It's okay. We have back-to-back meetings in here.
Yeah, we got back-to-back meetings. That's why we were going to go. There we go. Thank you. That's why we're going to go ahead, 9 o'clock, call this meeting to order.
Did you change the? We have a quorum.
Could we do a roll call, please?
Sheriff Tommy Johnson III. Rick Warren.
Joe Blau for Kerry Bloomer.
Butch Freeman, for Butch Freeman.
Jessica Clayton for Brian Mon, Commissioner Brian
Mike Morrison for Assessor Larry Stein.
For the three county officials that are here, I want to thank you want to thank us very, very much. And please send our condolences to those others who didn't seem to bother to be here. Okay. Notice that this meeting was properly posted on Monday, March the 6th. Next is our Pledge of Allegiance. Miss Jessica, would you please lead us?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. This meeting is a little different as far as a meeting. It all involves ARPA. It all involves moving of funds within the ARPA funds, moving the dollars within the ARPA funds. As I understand it, this is a 3-meeting process, and this is the second meeting. Today, we're not going to spend money. We're going to realign it from an accounting perspective, basically. And so we're going to realign it to get it where it needs to be so that then we can start spending it. We've had what I would absolutely consider our A-team involved in us from the go. We've had Micah from the county clerk's office. We've had the purchasing agent, Chantel. And there was a couple more, I believe you were telling me, Jessica, that were involved in that. Oh, yeah, Stacy. How could I forget my Mizzou fan? Anyway, and Stacy's involved. So we've had the experts on this. It's a rather complicated plan, but I think it's one that we're going to find will work beautifully. And there's a couple of high dollars in here. So anyway, having said all of that, then we're going to go through the agenda. Item number 1 is transfer of appropriations. You can read there on how much it is. Jessica, you and Chantel. Chantel, why don't you come on up here? We'll have you do this. All right. Bring as many as you want.
Got the brains here. I was just helping Jessica, and we've been working together. So this item is in order for PBA subrecipient to be realized. These are the funds associated with the work out at Krause with the Emergency Operations Center. And this will allow us to put it in the right place in order to cut the check for those PBA funds that will go later on.
Micah?
That's exactly what it is.
So
Okay.
a little further explanation.
Sure.
When we originally took action on the Emergency Operations Center, we thought it was going to be a standalone facility located elsewhere.
Right.
When Krause became available again for county use, we determined that that would be the location, so we needed to move those funds into the PBA, as they said.
Okay.
And this was approved by the BOCC on Monday, so it's just moving the funds.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
Motion?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion second. No further comments, questions? Please note how you're going to vote. Here we go.
Aye.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Now we're moving on to item number 2. Item number 2, and incidentally, this, as you're going to talk about here in just a moment, this $40 million, my understanding is for the jail mental health facility. That will be a separate facility within the confines or within the land with the jail. Incidentally, we were discussing that this morning with Miss Jessica and Christy, and with this, if this is passed here in just a moment, then we'll be up to, and Rick, I think you'll find this especially interesting, up to 312 million. So when we take the 260, the first 45 million of which we're getting ready to close on, And then when you take that 260 and add this 40 and then our other 10, that has no holds attached to it. But I also hear good news, we're up to 312. Bad news, the target just keeps going up and up and up. But anyway, but we are making strides, and we'll get there. I couldn't tell you, we may be taking up a collection plate. There you go, just like we do on Sundays. But we'll get there some way. Okay, if you would, any further.
This item is to move the 40 million from a general ARPA account into the construction account. So that way all of our construction projects, or at least this one in particular, is in a place where we have the appropriate accounts in order to assign requisition officers, receiving officers, to expend purchase orders. It also splits the amount into capital and M&O appropriately for things like owner's rep, design fees. Those come out of M&O, whereas your construction dollars come out of capital. So this is just a way that we can put it in the right place and put it into the right account. If you have
Any
questions.
further questions? Oh, Micah?
Well, the BOCC had never taken the step to move it to the construction department, and they voted on that on Monday, so, yeah.
Okay.
It was just sitting in.
Any further questions? Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I hear a second? Speak up.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further questions, comments? If not, all favor? Aye.
Aye.
And please vote on your machine. Seeing it pass 6-0. Thank you very much. Item number 3.
I don't know.
Well, this is
She's
just,
got to do all
yeah,
of
this
these.
is, so we need to split the capital from the M&O to cover the owner's rep fees and the design fees. So each of these capital projects will have an M&O piece, and we need to move the funds to the M&O accounts.
Okay, now what is a rep fee?
That's your owner's representative that was contracted with. We're actually working on getting that contract approved. And so this is a representative that will serve as oversight.
Who is this representative?
White and Associates.
Yes, White and Associates was selected.
Yeah, I'm anxious to hear the comments right now.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions here. I understood we're gonna have a rep over the jail, but we're putting him over all these projects in excess of $1 million. And I don't know how many people he's gonna have on the project representing us, but I've been a project representative for multi-million-dollar projects for the state of Arkansas and other states. And I was there 5-6 days a week, 8 hours a day as a rep to make sure it went right. How are they gonna spread themselves this thin?
And I've got another question that'll go tag along if you don't mind. The rep fee for the court clerks remodel is going to be $525,000 for a $310,000 design fee.
A lot of these are based on their hourly rates and the amount of time that we expect would take for design, for construction.
But
for
they're not in the
closeout.
design part of it, right? They're gonna be representing the construction. They're gonna be a representative in the construction.
They are on the construction side of things. There's going to be a team of 8. One of them's a mechanical engineer, one of them's an electrical engineer, and an HVAC guy. So we have some high skills on our construction team. And then there's other guys that are just construction observation people. And then they've got a real unique piece where they do final audits to help get through federal audit, which is a key component of this. And they have a lot of experience.
Because
in
of
that
it
area.
being ARPA money, being
Yes.
federal money.
Yes, absolutely. So the overall owner's rep fee is 3.something% of the total, which is pretty reasonable and standard in the industry for that kind of a service. And but I suppose there's 2 ways you could have done it. You could have put all that under one line item by itself, but the policy and governance chose to spread it over each project. So as we wrote down each project, some are more complicated than others. So there's higher fees on some projects than others, which makes sense.
Stacy, once we get this project drawn up by the architects and once the engineers have gone over the project to make sure it can be built the way our architect has designed it, they will stay on board. I've never known an architect not to stay on board, make sure that we're building it, an engineer, not make sure that the construction's properly, and whatever companies you hire are gonna all be licensed, heat and air people. I mean,
To a certain extent, you're right that sometimes you can take the architect that designed it and contract with him to do some construction type stuff all the way through. Or in this case, we'll probably cut the architect off at some point and turn it over to the owner's rep, him having more on-point type skills in the construction side of it.
I have a lot of questions about it. $525,700. I have a lot of questions here, and we'll need a lot. I mean, I'll vote for it today, but I'll be honest with you, I have multiple questions about this because I'm very familiar with what a rep does, and this seems very extravagant to me.
Well, yours was one of the more complicated, the ones the way we looked at it, because you do have HVAC components, you have electrical components, maybe a slight amount of plumbing, not much, but then you have a lot of comms that's going to come back into the fourth floor.
Stacy, does?
We've had that on every floor.
The building is historical. Does that play a part into that now?
No. There's no
Construction. But as far as our supports and everything in our HVAC, it's all pretty standard. I mean, we've done this on every floor, including down in the jury assembly room. We had to move in a complete electrical panel. The electric company oversees that. The engineer just makes sure that it meets the requirements of the state and city and meets all the codes. This high fee for a rep,
The Policy and Governance made that recommendation to the commissioners, and they agreed that they wanted an owner's rep on this.
well, their expertise is very limited, though. I know the people that's own that policy of government. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just saying as far as the construction background, they're very, very limited.
Well, White's a pretty good expert in the area.
I
So
agree.
for the projects we've done so far, as you know, Keith and I get pretty heavily involved in those, and now you've got $70 million that we above and beyond what we normally do. It's a little bit much for us, so we needed to plug in a consultant to help us. So I agree that we should have one, especially that has his skills with electrical, HVAC.
I don't disagree. As we know, we learned a lot of lessons from our structure on a certain facility some 26 years ago. And one of the things that we learned is maybe we did not have eyes on the ground as much as we perhaps should have. Then maybe we wouldn't have had some of those issues. I don't disagree with any of that at all. I do think, number one is I wouldn't have broken it out myself, but that's, whatever, that's an accounting. It's just as the court clerk mentioned, I think you said it was over $1 million, Rick?
Yeah, it's over $1 million. And plus, what you're speaking of was change orders in the jail. When it was built, all the mistakes it made was done by change orders. That probably should have never taken place, but it was all open and done. This is basically, I just like the elevators. I mean, what's their expertise in elevators?
I'm not exactly sure what kind of an elevator guy he has on board with him and his team of 8.
Okay, so this team of 8, all right. And
Will they be here 8 hours a
oversee all
day?
this stuff.
Not every day, no. It's not an 8-hour day, 8 guys. You would have never been able to afford that.
I mean, they're pulling it out of our budget, $525,000 to afford a lot. I mean, basically, and they're pulling it out of our budget. I'd like to at least have some kind of idea how often they're going to be here and what they're actually going to do and what qualifies them to earn that kind of money from the county.
We have a breakdown of how many hours they're going to spend on your project.
All right.
I don't have it in front of me today, but that's how that number was arrived at.
And one of the, I do not know construction. I hit my thumb more often than I hit the nail, so. But one of the reasons that we made this recommendation and the board approved it is given the nature of these dollars and the requirements they be spent according to federal guidelines and the back end that if you mess something up, they can come in and demand the recoupment. We elected to go this way.
Okay, now they can come in and demand recruitment. So that also means they could come in and say, spending $1 million for these reps is grossly over, you're being grossly overcharged with our money.
But it's within the rules to have it paid
Administrative
for
fees are
administration.
an allowable expense.
The 3%,
I understand the concern.
it depends on the way their contract is drawn, if they earn the 3%. The 3%, usually when I pay somebody a percentage on a project, especially a multi-million-dollar project, I will outline exactly what I expect for my money, and it will be in the contract, when and where, and what they're gonna do, and how often they're gonna be there, and
It is in
what
the
I can
contract.
expect. Yeah, I'd love to see that contract.
She has a draft
Thank
of
you.
it.
Well, of course, we've already talked. This is a fast moving train. I think you said you would go ahead and
I'm
probably
gonna
vote
support it
for
today, but I'm gonna really take a hard look at it. And I do have the expertise in construction.
What kind of shirt you got on? Oh, very good.
I know how to handle your questions. I haven't figured everybody else out yet. For Butch, you just do this.
There you go.
Okay, good dialogue, good discussions, and I leave it in your hands as a member of the budget board. I mean, you are the expert, and I know you will keep a good eye on it. All right, any further questions? Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second. Thank you.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Any further questions, comments? If not, all favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 6-0. Thank you very much, ladies. I have to apologize. We should never have been, you should not have been the two that we had to beat up on. I don't know who it should have been, but it should have been. All right, item number 4. Before we discuss this item, I would like to have a motion. Each of you was given a copy of this attachment as you arrived today. And so the first thing I'd like to do is to officially receive this attachment that goes with number 4.
I'll motion to receive.
Second. We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we now have the attachment.
So,
Do we need to vote?
thank you.
Second was down there. Mike, you seconded it.
Oh, there it goes. Popped up.
All right, now we get a vote.
Okay, so this is just an accounting function related to ARPA. Our money wasn't in the right bucket, and so working with Mike and the county clerk's office, we're just moving this item to make it right.
Any further questions? Any further comments? All right. Do we have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Got a motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. At this time, citizens' participation. Are there any citizens? I don't think we had anybody signed up to talk. Board comments. Sheriff.
It's a pleasure to be with you all. Good time to be here today. I enjoyed it. Great conversation.
Good morning.
None. Thank you.
Okay. I'm going to save mine for last.
I just want to take an opportunity to thank Chantel and Micah and Christy and Stacy and all those that work on the ARPA funds. I know it's a lot of moving pieces and appreciate all your work.
I just want to say thank you for everybody that took the process and acted to vote yesterday.
Amen. Boy, I was surprised by that.
I was too.
I wasn't surprised by the results. I was surprised by the magnitude of the results. Okay, in my comments, Mr. Chris Steele, would you please stand up? Mr. Chris Steele, for those of you who are like myself, realize and remember when he was the Speaker of the House over at the state legislature, and what an exciting time he had. And Chris, most important though, is heavily involved in justice systems and doing whatever can be done to improve the situation for all of us. And Mr. Steele is also then chair of the meeting that's going to take place here, one of the subcommittees of the jail trust. So we got the right man at the right time in the right place. Thank you very much, Mr. Steele.
Thank you.
All right, any other words? Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Second. We are adjourned.